This is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1. Christine Leahy is joining us.
Hi. You're in an interesting mood today.
I was tired, fatigued. I took a sleeping pill last night, a big mistake. So I haven't had a coffee yet.
Well, you were just breaking down Sam Darnold during the break, and it was, someone get coffee. Try melatonin. It's better.
Yeah, I feel good. I'm coming into my own now. I've had the green juice, and I'm ready to go.
It's not the coffee.
Just not the coffee. So, I'm going to do my mock draft here in a couple minutes. Here's what we know for sure. 5 teams in the top 10. Well, I'll just say this. We know 5 teams are desperate for a quarterback. Buffalo, Arizona, Jets, Miami, Cleveland. 5 teams absolutely need a quarterback. Buffalo, Arizona, Jets, Miami, and Cleveland. We know there's 7 other teams that should draft a quarterback. New York Giants, Denver Broncos. I don't care. I don't care if you got Case Keenum. Denver needs to draft a quarterback. Baltimore, Flacco's getting up there. Los Angeles Chargers, Phillip Rivers is 36-37. New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, 39. Patriots, Tom Brady's going to be 41. And Jacksonville. I don't care if you re-sign him. Jacksonville draft a quarterback. We've got 5 absolutes and 7 shoulds. That is 38% of the league. Nothing tells you Baker Mayfield's going to go high in the first round, like 38%, and nothing tells you Lamar Jackson's going to get drafted, period, like 38%. Now, Baker at his pro day yesterday, we had 2 people at it. Joel Klatt and Robert Klemko, Monday morning quarterback. They both joined us talking about Baker Mayfield, where he's going to go. Here's what they saw yesterday.
This guy has a really strong arm, and it's actually one of the better arms that we've got available in this draft. He can throw the football with velocity. He's got great accuracy and touch when it comes to between the numbers. You'll see a game against Texas in that Red River Shootout in the Cotton Bowl, and he's backpedaling, and then all of a sudden he flips his hips and throws the ball 61 yards in the air for a touchdown. That shows me that off-platform, on-platform, he's got the arm talent to go out there and make successful throws at the next level. I think Baker Mayfield is a no-brainer for some of these teams at the top, and I think someone's going to have to go into the top 6 to get him. I don't see him falling out of the top 6. I think Buffalo might get aggressive and try to get up there, and I think he's probably in play for Denver as well.
And I talked to a head coach before this pro day who said, I want to see him deadly accurate on the deep outs and the deep ends. And he wasn't that. You know, the throws to the sideline, he hit about 60% of them. He also prioritized playing from under center, taking all of his snaps and doing a 3 or 5 step drop. And he did that well. People talk about not making the NFL throws, and I think that was a big criticism of Keenum coming out, that he came from an offense that was really simplified, didn't have full progression reads. And I know that Baker Mayfield hasn't made a tremendous amount of those throws. He was 31st in the NCAA in terms of those attempts, but he was the most efficient on those attempts.
So there you go. 2 guys I respect, Robert Klemko, longtime reporter, Joel Klatt, like what they saw. Not ideal, not perfect, but they like what they saw. So I don't do mock drafts, I never have, but I saw so many, and so many were ridiculous. Like Sam Darnold would go like 8th and 10th. I'm like, stop it. I'm going to do my own. Then things have happened in free agency where Denver gets a quarterback. Okay, they may not get a quarterback. So then I did a second. Okay, now we got quarterbacks all over the place. So I thought, okay, now this is my 3rd mock draft. This is my 3rd. I'm going to give you my top 10, then I'm going to tell you who 11 is. And remember that number, 38% of teams will or should draft a quarterback. So here we go. Number 1, Sam Darnold. Tyrod Taylor is nice. They don't think they're going to build around Tyrod Taylor. What they're doing is building a roster around him. They got Jarvis Landry, the wide receiver. They are now upgrading at running back and cornerback. They are going to go, and they're filling in all these spots and hand it to Sam Darnold, number 1. They should. He is the closest NFL prospect. He's big, strong, trunky, worker, tough kid, no diva, no ego, yet smart. Sam Darnold, the Cleveland 1. Number 2, I think the Giants should take a quarterback. They're not going to, I'm told, Saquon Barkley. So they get Nate Solder at left tackle. That's a legitimate top 5 left tackle. Saquon Barkley's the home run hitter. Little Reggie Bush there. Can catch, can run, can blow by people. Not a 28 carry a game guy. But then they have an elite left tackle, an elite home run guy. They're going to stick with Eli for at least 2 more years. And they've already got what I consider good defensive personnel. Some guys had off years, but a very good secondary, and they have a pass rush. Saquon Barkley second. Okay, John, you know I'm going to go revolutionary here. This never happens in mock drafts. I am saying there's going to be a trade. Arizona is going to trade with Indianapolis. Indianapolis needs players. Arizona is going to move up and get Josh Rosen, the quarterback out of UCLA, who is being nitpicked to death. He throws a beautiful football. His prototype is Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan's been to Super Bowls. Probably should have won a Super Bowl. So Arizona moves up to the third spot. Indy takes over their pick and gets several other picks. Number 4. Cleveland has Sam Darnold. Now they have a star receiver. They're going to take a guy many believe is the can't-bust player in the draft, Quentin Nelson, interior offensive lineman from Notre Dame. Joe Thomas just retired, so I have changed my pick on Cleveland. They're not going to put Sam Darnold behind an offensive line that just lost their Pro Bowl left tackle. They will upgrade. They got their receiver in Jarvis Landry. Now they're going to give him a 10-year starter on the interior line, Quentin Nelson of Cleveland, number 4. Denver at 5. Denver has Case Keenum. And my belief is Bradley Chubb is the best available player, and pass rushes and pass rushers are hard to find. They got one in Von Miller. They're going to get Bradley Chubb because they're going to believe he's just too good and too certain not to draft. Also gives them eventually maybe some leverage down the road. If Von Miller wanted to go, they have another elite pass rusher, Bradley Chubb. The Jets are 6. They're going to similarly, they got McCown and Bridgewater. They need a quarterback, but they have 2 now. I believe, much like Denver, they're going to say, we got to take Calvin Ridley. We got our quarterbacks. We may not love them, but we're going to go for the best available explosive, dynamic perimeter player. Nobody else has Calvin Ridley in their top 10. I think he's the best receiver in a weak receiver class, runs good routes, tough, stays available. Jets, go Calvin Ridley. They got a bad receiving core and not much of a running game. They got to give Bridgewater and McCown something to use. Then I think Tampa, which needs an offensive lineman, but Quentin Nelson's gone, goes Minkah Fitzpatrick. And their theory is he's the best available player in the draft. Some think, I'm one of them, he may be the only can't-miss guy in this draft beyond the Notre Dame offensive lineman. Number 8's the Chicago Bears. They go after an emerging corner, Denzel Ward, Ohio State. Everybody in this league can use a corner. Chicago can really use a corner. Okay, John, I have another trade, John. Another big one. San Francisco, which again, like Indianapolis, needs multiple players, is going to trade out of the first round. Buffalo, one of those 5 desperate teams for a quarterback, A.J. McCarron's not their future, moves up and takes Josh Allen, a quarterback with the San Francisco pick. The Niners move down and take Buffalo's pick and get several other premium picks. And 10, the Raiders take Roquan Smith, a linebacker from Georgia, who you saw play in the national championship game, really fast, a playmaker. They're really bad at linebacker. They are really bad in the secondary. They need playmakers. The weakness of the Raiders is their back 7. They got very average linebackers and very average secondary. Now, we talked about Baker Mayfield. I have Baker Mayfield, therefore, going number 11 to the Miami Dolphins, who Tannehill's off an injury. So I got Darnold 1, Rosen 3, Josh Allen 9, and Baker Mayfield 11. 4 quarterbacks in the top 11 picks. That is my mock draft 3.0. John, it's never been done. 2 trades in the top 10. Never been done in mock draft history.
When do you lock these in? Or are you going to just keep doing them?
You know, it's just like an engagement ring. There's no date set.
Is that how your engagements work?
Yes.
Wow.
There's no date yet, but I am going to lock it in very soon.
That doesn't sound promising at all.
It does for the guy.
Now, why even get engaged then?
Listen, it's better than a promise ring.
That's true.
I am engaged.
I think promise rings should be really cut off by the time you turn 21.
Probably.
Shouldn't be giving those out.
All right, now we got big NBA stuff. Eddie House out here. We know Eddie, 11-year NBA vet, an NBA championship, 2008 with the Boston Celtics. Okay, let's start with this. First of all, you're a big Raider fan. They need a linebacker.
Yeah, we do.
He's a tough kid.
We need back help, too.
Your back end
help.
it's not good.
But Navarro Bowman's solid.
is solid. He's
he was
past his
solid.
prime.
He
past his
helped
prime.
us out a lot this year.
And Oakland's a tough team with a tough culture. You got to get a little more physical. You take a Georgia linebacker. Georgia's got tough players.
Yeah, we got to take that.
You know
that
more finesse. You need tough guys. Oakland's tough.
No doubt.
You're from Oakland.
Yep. No
Oakland's tough.
Straight 11.
I don't even know what that means.
Wait, what did you say?
Straight 11. That's
is-
for my partner back home.
Oh.
Okay, that's a Oakland's got its own
Got it.
thing going. Okay, so a couple of things here. A guy that's more finesse. Okay, Steph Curry. Chris Bouchard said this yesterday. Steph Curry's not only had ankle injuries. He's getting ankle injuries walking around. This isn't landing on a big. Like, I think it's an issue going forward, right? This is his 17th ankle hit, sprain, injury.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be some kind of issue, especially he was doing it one time with just shooting around by himself.
Right.
And we might have to blame them shoes he's wearing, too. Them biscuits he got on his feet. Them thing, that might be a problem. They might need to fix that. You know, and anytime you roll your ankle, too, but in all seriousness, if you roll your ankle because the fourth time that he did it, you know they heavily taped it.
Right.
If you're rolling your ankle while it's taped, that means there's
It's
something
shoot around.
wrong. There's something really wrong. So moving forward, that's a big concern. Clay not so much, but Steph is the main part of this team.
Well, the tempo's different.
Without him, I mean, he's the playmaker. He's really the playmaker.
Listen, I love Kevin Durant, but he doesn't change the pace of the offense. I saw a stat the other day where when Steph's out, they're like 23rd in pace. When Steph's in, they're number one. So he's the trigger guy. He's the one that makes it go. Now, let's shift into this. You know, yesterday Whitlock's like, come on, man. Let's maybe this LeBron thing. You sign a 5-year deal. You hand a franchise with him. You could be paying him a boatload of money, giving him all this power and leverage, and he ain't great in 4 and 5 years. The Laker rebuild. To me, it's a bunch of branches. They need a trunk. I think LeBron's what you go after, right?
You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You love LeBron. You really think he's gonna come here? You really think he's coming here?
I think he's leaving Cleveland.
But he's gonna land in
Well,
LA.
he's got 2 houses here, and his buddies all live
Would
here.
you put money on it?
That's why I say, would
Yeah.
you bet the house on that?
Would I bet my house on it?
Yeah, there you go.
I wouldn't bet my house on anything.
Would you bet $2,000?
Well, what do I get if I am right? Is it like a real bet or just call and give me $2,000?
No. You get 4,000 back.
Oh, so you're giving me odds?
Yeah.
Oh, I do that tomorrow. Look at those odds. You shouldn't be an odds maker.
Well, no, that's not that wasn't good. You get 2,500 back.
All right. Yes. Why are you so not into LeBron?
No.
Because
I
he's not
love
coming.
LeBron. It's not that. It's if I'm the Lakers organization. First off, the Lakers are going to sell themselves. The organization is what it is, one of the best in history of sports. The city, his business that he could get off the court, get into movies that he's been doing and things like that. But if I'm the organization, I'm not going to sit and wait for him to make the decision, because then you could lose some of your young pieces. You have Julius Randle who's playing well right now. If you know for sure LeBron's coming, then okay, now let's make some moves. But you can't sit here waiting like, okay, well, is he coming or is he not coming? And then mess up everything left holding the bag with nothing in it. You have to make sure you take care of inside the house first. And then if he comes, then you can start moving things around.
You know a lot of different players. What do your players say about LeBron's movement? Even if it's not L.A., what are they saying? I mean, Cleveland's got no cap space. They can't reboot this thing again for 2 years.
I'm thinking maybe Houston.
That's what I said.
I'm thinking Houston. I mean, he's been wanting to play with Chris Paul for the longest.
Yeah.
And I think Houston is a very realistic destination.
Players like Houston, too. Like when I've talked to pro athletes.
No tax.
No state tax.
Yeah.
Though, this is something that you wouldn't think it's a big deal. But there's a reason the Eastern Conference, I've always theorized. Listen, it's a winter league. When you get off that plane at 2:45 in Houston, it's 64 degrees.
Oh, it's feeling good.
It's 9 in Boston.
Yeah,
You're like
it's shivering.
So Houston's one of those places in America that is still warm. We went there to the Super Bowl. It's warm in February. It's 80 today.
Yeah, see, I really see him possibly going to Houston to go play with Chris Paul. I mean, that's his best friend.
Christine had a story I thought was interesting. Andrew Wiggins is unhappy being the third, to which I say, well, dude, then change it. Like you don't have any dog in you. When you look at Andrew Wiggins, what do you see?
I see a really talented player, but reading that article that you were talking about from the Bleacher Report, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so reading that Tibbs say, I want more. I need more. It's like you don't like Russell Westbrook, right? No, because you be hating on him. You just keep it real. You be hating on him. You be hating on him.
Yep.
So I'd much rather have a guy that I say we got to reel in than a guy that I got to light a fire under.
Oh, that's very interesting.
That means he don't have it.
So you're okay. That's actually, I've never heard that before. You'd rather reel a guy in a little than have to constantly motivate him. And that's Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, there you go. That's his head coach is saying that. I think he's super talented. He has the size, athleticism. He could score. But you got to be careful though. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. You know what I mean? And it's a reason why it's always a pecking order. When we were in Boston, our big three pecking order went this way. Paul Pierce.
He was the guy.
We're going to go to him unless Ray was hot. Now, circumstances dictate who's going to get that last shot. I'm not going to give you the last shot if you are 0 for 8 from 3 and we need a 3 and Ray's over here 5 for 7, or whoever it is. I'm going to go to the hot hand. But everything, a fair playing field, it was Paul and KG, then Ray. That was the pecking order.
By the way,
everybody else got in, get in where you fit in.
Cautionary tale. Rondo at some times was unhappy. What's he done since he left Boston? Like his career, it's very rare. Like if you can be unhappy if you're Andrew Wiggins, but it's like, dude, be very careful. How many perfect locker rooms are there in the league? Golden State. Houston feels like they're getting there now.
Right.
There's mostly 28, 29 that are not perfect.
I'm telling you, talking about Rondo, ask Anthony Davis how Rondo's doing. He's a recipient of a lot of those passes.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Eddie House. Good. I don't hate Russell Westbrook. We got to get that out there.
You be hating on him. Of him.
I occasionally hate on him.
Yeah, you hate on. See, LeBron could get a triple-double. He's like, oh, man, that was a fantastic triple-double last night. Did you see how he did that?
Oh, and now
then Russell Westbrook get a triple-double, got 100. He only got 3 people ahead of him. You're like, oh, that doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, yeah, it does.
By the way, I'm not a triple-double guy. I'm not a stat guy.
When LeBron has one, you are.
No, I'm actually not. The way I look at NBA guys, I can describe, if I say Eddie House, I'm like, shooter. Ray Allen, shooter. Like, I generally look at players as, what do they do? Like I say, Westbrook, dynamic. LeBron, Swiss Army knife. Kobe, scorer. Like, I'm not worried about everything lining up. Like, generally, LeBron's an exception. Guys are great at something or really good at one thing. LeBron's the Swiss Army knife. He can do everything. But by and large, I don't worry about I'm not a stat guy. When it comes to basketball, I have a feel. Like, do you believe late in the game Paul Pierce should have the ball in his prime?
Yeah.
Yes, no doubt.
He was not a great shooter. He was not. What was he great at? 8 seconds
Closer.
left. 8 seconds left. I want him with. I don't care what the stats say on Paul Pierce. 8 seconds left in his peak. I want him to have the ball. And his numbers tell you he's not a great shooter. He was great when it mattered. I think he has better numbers than Kobe with like 8 seconds left in games.
Super clutch.
Yeah. Good seeing you, bud.
Yep.
Can you imagine taking a car on a 100-day test drive? Of course, you couldn't because that would never happen. You would be owning and paying for the car. But at Casper, it's a retail business that allows you to have their product for over 3 months. They ship it for free. If you don't like it, they ship it out for free. It's amazing. It ships to your door in a box so small. Hard to get your hands around the fact that you don't need movers. You just cut the box, open it, take it down the hallway. Again, full refund. Take it out for free if you don't like it. It's the 100-night sleep challenge from Casper. I have mine. I love it. You'll love it, guaranteed. Right now, go to Casper.com, code HERD, H-E-R-D, and you'll save $50 on select mattresses. That's the code HERD, Casper.com, code HERD. That also saves you $50. Now, terms and conditions do apply. 100 nights to make a decision. Nobody else does that. Casper.com, code HERD.